The division of fractions is nothing more than taking the first fraction and multiplying it by the reciprocal of the second fraction. The reciprocal is nothing more than taking that fraction and turning it upside down. The numerator becomes the denominator, and the denominator now becomes the numerator. This fraction upside down is the one that you're going to multiply by the first fraction, and now it becomes a simple exercise on the multiplication of fractions. In this video, I'm going to do two exercises where we will practice division and multiplication of fractions. Also, we will practice the simplification of fractions and changing improper fraction into mixed fractions, also called mixed numbers. These are the two ways that you will probably see an exercise on the division of fractions. One next to another with the division sign in between them. In this case, the second one gets reciprocated or turned upside down and then multiplied by the first one. If you see it like this looks like a fraction within another fraction. The one that's on top, the numerator, stays the same, and the one on the bottom, the denominator, is the one that you have to reciprocate or turn upside down, and then you just multiply the two of them together. Now let's do a little exercise here. We will do the division of 2/3 divided by 5/8. These two expressions are equal, they are the same. I'm just writing it twice so you can see the two possibilities of how you will find them in an exercise. Here we have the same thing, 2/3 divided by 5/8 or 5/8. And as you can see, I'm multiplying the first fraction by the reciprocal of the second one. The 8 was in the denominator, now it's in the numerator, and the 5 was on top and now it's on the bottom in the denominator. So 2 times 8 becomes 16. And 3 times 5, well, that's easy, that's 15. I cannot simplify this anymore. However, 16/15 is an improper fraction. Remember, improper fraction is where the numerator is larger than the denominator. And I'm going to change that into a mixed fraction, sometimes called a mixed number, which is nothing more than an integer and a fraction together. So 16/15 becomes 1 and 1/15. And how did I get from there to there? Well, these are the intermediate steps. 16, I also can write it as 15 plus 1 divided by 15. Now, I can change this fraction into two fractions as long as they have the same denominator. I have 15/15 plus 1/15. 15/15 becomes 1. Remember, any fraction with the same number in the numerator and the denominator equals 1. So all this expression is equal to 1 plus 1/15. And then I can forget about the addition sign because a mixed number is just that. It's an integer and a fraction, and they're basically added together, but I don't have to write that. I just write 1 and 1/15. And that is the mixed number, or the mixed fraction. So 2/3 divided by 5/8 equals 1 and 1/15. Now I am going to show you how to verify if you did this exercise correctly by the use of a calculator. Calculators will not really help you in your homework or in your exam because most calculators only give you the result in decimal numbers. But they help to verify if you did the exercise correctly. What I'm going to do here is just do 2/3 divided by 5/8 first and see what I get from that. I get 2/3 divided by 5/8, and that equals what we see here, 1.0 and an infinite amount of 6's. That's why I have a line over the 6. that is a recurrent decimal, meaning that the 6 repeats infinitely. Now that what I have here has to be equal to what I have on the other side of the equal sign, and this is nothing more than 1 plus 1 over 15, and that equals the same thing, also 1.6 with the 6 repeating infinitely. So this proves that that this exercise was done correctly, and that's how you can verify if the multiplication or division of fraction that you did is correctly. But remember, you have to express it. Most of the time you are required to express it as a fraction, and that is, I recommend that you do that by hand and only use the calculator at the end to verify your results. Now let's do another exercise here quickly. We have 7/10 divided by 1/8, or here 7/10 divided by 1/8. I just wrote it again like in the previous example. Well, this becomes 7/10 multiplied by 8 over 1. That's what we see here. 7/10 multiplied by 8 over 1. I just multiply the numerators with the denominators. 7 times 8 becomes 56, and 10 times 1 is just 10. Now I can simplify that. 56 divided by 10 equals 28 divided by 5. What I did here was I divided both on the numerator and the denominator by 2. Since I'm doing the same operation on the top and on the bottom, on the numerator and on the denominator, that is equal, that is the same, that is equivalent. So 56 divided by 10 equals 28 divided by 5. Now it is simplified, but it's still an improper fraction. I have a number on the numerator larger than in the denominator. Let's change that to a mixed fraction or a mixed number. So here we see 28 divided by 5 equals 5 3/5. How did we get there? Well, 28 divided by 5 equals 25 plus 3 divided by 5. And I separate this fraction into 25 over 5 plus 3 over 5. And 25 divided by 5 equals 5. So now I have that all of this equals 5 plus 3/5. And again, I forget about the sign of addition and just write it as 5 3/5. So at the end of the day, what we have is that 7/10 divided by 1/8 equals 5 3/5. Now you can go and check this one with the calculator and see if I did it correctly or not. So that is all for the division of fractions. Just remember, if you have one fraction next to another, you have to multiply the first fraction by the reciprocal of the second to get the answer of that division. If you're having a division where one fraction is on top of the other, one is the numerator and one's the denominator, you have to multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator, and that is how you solve the division of fractions. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you found this useful, please subscribe, tell a friend, and don't forget to check some of my other videos and the playlist. Once again, thank you, and see you on the next video.